certain kind of Benelux out here, the Baltics. They often discuss together like a partnership of 3 countries. I don't think there's any particular formal partnership in place that I know of. Maybe there are for some particular. Maybe there are whole dozens of formal partnerships joining businesses and networks and things like that, phone networks, whatever, in place here. But I don't think there's any like overarching formal Benelux-style treaty linking the 3 Baltic states. But certainly there seems to me to be a lot in common. You get the same business names turning up here as you do in Lithuania. The languages look similar until you look closely. And you can see Latvian looks as though you could understand it from Germanic and Slavic, and you see some really, I mean, the thing about Latvian is you see some really unusual cognates with English, like RU is Arius, yeah? If you're going to ask a question that begins with RU in English, it's Arius, because what it would begin with in, and there's no other languages which really have this particular closeness for those 2 words to come together in that form. But you'll say, oh, well, R is just basically like tr in Polish, it's a question particle. But where does that come from? You know, it's funny that it effectively gets used that way in English anyway. So that when you actually put the sentences together, they look as though they're more similar than perhaps a grammarian would say they are. But then you think, well, you know, this is funny anyway. It's a coincidence anyway. Why? Why are there so many coincidences? For example, no smoking in Latvian is nesmeket.
You are over the speed limit.
They think nesmeket, so smeket is to smoke. Well, you know, you don't see smoke as a word in many languages, because in most of the Germanic languages you've got, you know, roka is the Dutch, isn't it? And then Reykja is Old Norse, so you've got Reykjavik is Smoke Bay in Iceland, and Rauchen, obviously, nicht Rauchen in German. And this word Rauchen, what have you, exists in English too. It's reek, yes? It reeks of something that smells badly. It reeks. So kauna is straight on. Okay, is what we say. And there's a Scottish saying, "Long may your chimney smoke." It means may you have a long, live long and prosper, is what you would say in Star Trek, or may the Force be with you, is what you would say in Star Wars. But the Scots, they say, "Lang may your lom reek." Yeah, lang may your lom reek. Long may your chimney smoke. Of course, when you talk about chimneys and smokes, yeah, it's not just simply a reference, presumably not just a reference to the mitochondria being like the fireplace of life in every cell that you have. It could be taken to refer to that, but of course, what does chimney remind you of? Yes, it's obviously a phallic symbol and the smoke coming out the end. But still, even in Scotland, they don't say, well, they don't, obviously Scottish people say smoke, yeah, and they also do tend to still like the odd smoke, but you know, like, I won't get into train spotting scenarios here, but oh dear, this I didn't see how much I'd pushed my thingy out, but this has completely blocked my visibility out of the back window. I didn't realise I'd done something stupid like that. I'll have to pull over and sort that out. I've actually blocked my back visibility completely without even considering it. I've been using the mirrors to see behind, which you can do, of course, but actually find it quicker to look out of the... I won't stop here, but at some point, well, I'll have to stop here, so let's see if I can do something. Ah, that's a lot better. It's in the seat next to me now. Okay. Now I've got the perfect view out of the back. Didn't have that yesterday either. At least I had half of it. This will be easier that way. It's 3 degrees plus here. Most of yesterday's drive was 3 degrees below. At one point it started snowing. It'll probably snow sometime today. But I want to use the maximum of the dash cam time that I've got here. The dash cam footage going, speed cameras are in use. Darbojas works itself. Fotoradari, Latvia. That's probably a locative case. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm just being, what Christoph Clugston calls a field linguist. But But actually, you know, because of this business of things like smeket and what have you, and argue and what have you, and you see a lot of things and you like Slivek, looks like человек, yeah? I don't know how they say it, if it's a chorice or whatever, but it looks like człowiek or человек. And there's lots of words that, you know, that you put together. You know it must be, because they often have a habit of writing Russian or English next to the Latvian. Like just now, you saw it in English together with the Latvian. So, in that situation, you can see, yes, it really does mean человек or something, not just a complete coincidence. So when it comes to Slavic and Germanic, it's you know, you say, well, it's funny the number of apparent cognates there are. You say some are cognates, some are coincidences, but even something like alus, which I think I spoke about on the way up, being beer, yeah, that's cognate with ale. In this case, you do have you have öl in Old Norse or in Icelandic, and öl in Danish, Norwegian, what have you. I think Victor Berrio is the guy to explain how they all sound. He'd probably write it out in the International Phonetic Alphabet, which I probably should use it, because I'm sure it's a useful tool, but I was more concerned about, I mean, apart from anything else, I've dabbled in my own ones, my own phonetic alphabets, but without any kind of things which are hard to produce. So I've used combinations of X's and things like that behind other X's and what have you, behind standard letters, in order to try to produce other versions, X's or double X's or things like that, and Q's, X's and Q's, to affect the pronunciation of, so as to have one that works for most of the languages I've been trying to learn, and doesn't need to have special signs. Those experiments, I suppose, never really become publishable, but I've spent some time doing them, that's for sure. Maybe I'll write about it one day on a blog or something, but people would probably say, oh, you're just too lazy to learn the real one, you just don't want to learn how to do it. But I'm sure it's actually quite time consuming to write things down in IPA. I mean, obviously the people that did IPA when I was at university, the people that did pure linguistics, in a sense I'm sorry I didn't go down that line. I don't have many regrets, I suppose, but maybe that's one of them. If I had, I would probably have got a better result. And to get a better result in my case, that means I would have got a first, because I didn't get a first by only about 3 points. So, and that's thanks to Robert Lethbridge, my old tutor, for explaining that one to me one time long ago. There was nothing official about it. It's not that he wasn't allowed to. He was obviously allowed to have unofficial discussions about all sorts of things concerning that particular student, not other students. That he could tell a student, precisely what their marks have been, but it wasn't an official thing. Officially, you've got first, 2-1, 2-2, or a third, yeah, or unclassified if you're really cool. But basically, if you got a third, it means, well, you could practically say, well, yeah, if you got a third, it means it was really a misunderstanding that you were sent to Cambridge in the first place, or that you were a member of the royal family. One of those two possibilities. If you get a 2-2, well, that's fine, because half the university got 2-2, that's fine. It means that you weren't one of the very best there, but to be in the second tier of students at the Cambridge University anyway means you're still excellent, because it's a very high standard. So a 2-2 in Cambridge, I mean, obviously we would say, we used to say a 2-2 at Cambridge is worth a 2-1 in any other university, and employees used to also feel that way if they knew what the relative merits were of different universities. But, and of course the same for Oxford, because a 2-2 for Oxford would be also worth a 2-1 from one of the next tier of universities. Oh, we've got cyclists all going in a formation there. So so I got a 2-1, the highest possible 2-1. If I'd have gone to a red brick university, it means that I would have simply scored a first. But as it was, I nearly got the first in Cambridge. And I think the reason was I could never bring myself to come completely away from literature, and I should have done, because, well, I didn't like to write the essays about the books, but it did me good that I did these essays about the books and the literary things and what have you. And it did me some good, and obviously something which I carried on being interested in, but I was never particularly as sparkling about writing about these books as certain other people were. So I didn't, Another thing is, well, in Cambridge there's a tendency to use a certain Marxist form of literary criticism, and I could never accept this. I was always much more. I wanted to.
You
Well, I
are
mean, I just
over
rejected
the
some of the
speed
basis
limit.
of the way things were done there out of hand with ethics, and that didn't endear me to the people that were teaching those papers anyway. So I wasn't a structuralist. I wasn't in favour of structuralism. Structuralism was behind a lot of what they taught and what they expected to see regurgitated in our thinking, because it wasn't in mine. So I didn't score highly on literature papers ever, but on the philological papers, history of the language and things like that, I did well on those, and I still remember most of what I learned. So that was great. And if I had been sensible and followed my heart, I would have done some pure linguistics and pulled away from the literature a little bit. But well, I didn't, and I still haven't really had the time to get into that stuff. And so when people like Clugston says, you linguophiles, you're all, what do you say, Beavis? Well, but when he says that about the linguophiles, as he puts it, calls the people in the polyglot community linguophiles, which is. I suppose that's true. We are linguophiles. I don't see any problem with being called a linguophile. But he's just saying you're not linguists. Linguists. That's right. Yeah, some of us have learned 20 languages, but we don't know a thing about linguistics. We need to be taught from people who have read these books where they think they've worked something out scientifically. Linguistics, if you ask me, is a bit of a social science anyway.
You are over
so
the speed limit.
I wouldn't get too bogged down in it. Yes, it's even something like the International Phonetic Alphabet. It's only a convention. Okay, it's not something which is proven and set in stone that this squiggly S is sure whatever. Yeah, it's not like you're doing experiments with chemistry or physics or mathematics. So don't get too hoity-toity about who's scientific and who isn't. The proof of the pudding is in the eating when it comes to science and experimental approach. And who can say that a person that has actually gone about learning languages and has achieved a surprisingly large figure of languages learned, like many people in the polyglot community? And I'm not referring to myself because, if you compare me to quite a few people there, I'm definitely second or